that many, many more years, we'll be seeing Neenaexp, who is an outstanding member of our community, continue to do more productions. She not only is an outstanding member of the community, she also was a teacher I worked with. When I came over here after 27 years of teaching in Denver and graduating from Escuela Tlatelolco in 1973, I came back to finish my career teaching art and working with Neena in her classroom. First, I just taught elementary art. And what my goal was to teach the children that they could learn about themselves, about their culture, about their identity, about our roots, and about our history through things like art. So, Neena, this is yours. I made this for you to honor you for all the work that you put in. I don't know, maybe you would call me a half-stepping artist because when I started at the Escuela, I had so many interests that it became very hard for me to define what I wanted to do with my life. But I knew that I wanted to be committed to the betterment of our community and our people for the rest of my life. And so that's all I've done. And the Escuela opened up doors. I think the crusade opened up avenues that we were never exposed to. My mother's family came from Brighton. They worked in the fields, and they were subjected to a lot of prejudice and poverty. So when they moved to East Denver and they moved here, they were stifled. They didn't want us to speak Spanish anymore. We were so far away from the border, we stopped speaking our native language, a lot of us. So now you have generations or thousands of people in Colorado who are like me, who are native to the roots here, indigenous. I'm 15-year generation Chicano, Mexicano, Indio in the Southwest, but yet I can't speak Spanish. And why? Because they thought that if we assimilated, that would give us an opportunity to open doors. And what we found out in the early 60s, those doors were closed. And the only way they were going to open is if we gathered in mass and we organized ourselves. And we started to learn about our culture, about our history, about the reality of our world. Now, I know that we lost Carlota, she left, but I wanted to honor her because one of the first images I ever saw was the mural she painted at the crusade in 1966. Not only was she amazing as a woman, as a Chicana, as an artist, but she offered the first bits of history I ever saw. The mural was called Mexicano Heroes, and it had Benito Juarez, Emiliano Zapata, and it had the bandido, the famous bandido. Who is that? Who can tell me who that person is out of early 1900s? Pancho Villa. That poster hung at the crusade. That was the first mural I ever saw done by a woman. It was the first mural that ever told me it was okay to be proud of who we were and where we came from. and look back at our history, learn from it, take the gallant efforts that our people have put out throughout history, and move on. Since then, Escuela Tlatelolco had its doors open for over 40 years. And in that time frame, many artists, many musicians, many people came through the doors and taught all of us to be proud of who we were, to speak up, to find our voices, to paint. It was a fabulous experience to come back to Escuela Tlatelolco after I had been sick for so many years and being exhausted, but still having the ability to walk into Neena's classroom, and she accepted me. And I loved telling stories to the kids, giving them oral histories, and the art just came out of them naturally. And so the walls were filled with murals. There were pieces of art everywhere throughout the building. And these children now are contributing members in all of our communities and doing wonderful, wonderful things. So I want you to know that when I was 12 years old, I went to school and they said, "Rebecca?" And I didn't answer because my name's Reba. They had never heard the name. My mom named me after a Jewish woman who she cleaned house for when she first came from Brighton in her 20s, when she was a young woman. She said, "If I ever have a daughter, I'm going to name her after you." And she kept calling me and I wouldn't answer. And then finally I said, "Are you talking to me? My name's Reba." She said, "Reba? You must be Rebecca." I said, "No, I'm Reba." But anyway, to get to the point that I want to make, I think that we have had exceptional people put in our past, exceptional images that have taught us things. And when I look out into this crowd and I think about the artists that came out of Colorado, Manuel Martinez, Carlos Santaesteban, when you look at Carlota Espinosa, when you look to the valley and you see Carlos Sandoval and the work he did down there. You look at Jerry and the work he did in the west side, started right out of La Alma Park when we were trying to force open those parks so we could swim in them. You know, I think about all the opportunities we have, and then I look at someone like Neena, who has had such compassion, such lovely grace to share her wisdom and her knowledge with all of us. And yet we have learned from all of us very much. So when I got sick and I stopped teaching, and I was so sick that I had issues that I had to learn how to walk and use my hands and stuff again, I started saying, what am I going to do? I can't be the same person I used to be. So I recreated myself into a Chicana jewelry maker. So now I sit at home and I make representations of our past, our present, and what I see in the future. And I make a little bit of money, and I have a lot of pride in what I've been able to do. I work with stones, I work with semi-precious items, I work with a lot of different things. And you know, it's brought me back. But to all of you that are here tonight, that have given this beautiful young woman the opportunity to do this for a second year, I honor you. Don't stop. This is what makes us special. This is what makes Denver special. This is a special building. And I feel so honored to be here. And even though we could not keep it as Escuela Tlatelolco, that you honor us by opening it up to the community and talking about healing and offering a place that which creates a safe haven for everybody in the community. But don't forget who started it, and that was us. And don't forget these 15-generation families and the people that were here before there was a United States. We are the raza. We are the bronze continent of this country. And as long as we respect each other and give each other the kind of love and we support each other, I know that people like Jerry and all the young and upcoming artists and all the artists that we have lost and people like Carlota should be honored. I'm sorry that she wasn't here, but you know, I have no more respect for another woman artist as I do for Carlota, because she broke down the doors and the borders and the boundaries for us to do spoken word, for us to sing, for us to dance, and for us to honor the clans we come from, the familias we come from, and the future we're all going to create in this city and state together. Thank you.